Marcus, I don't know about you, but I am finding it so hard to recruit people. Not you can recruit like low talent people, but I'm talking about talented people who can just hit the ground and do their job with minimal supervision. How are you finding it in the US?
Well, I don't know where it went. One.
Yeah.
Two, what we were paying for basically the same position 3 years ago, you've now basically have a 20 or 30% increase. Especially when you only have a cost of living adjustment at 2.5 to 3.5 a year. When it comes to raises, right? When it comes to basically rates, when it comes to what we charge and how we do it, and then how we give, you see what I mean? It's all connected. So if someone wants more, then you're like, okay, you're going to have a higher billing rate. You're going to have to still be utilized more. You're going to be resourced more, right? So these are the buzzwords that when you get into the industry, you don't really know. You know what I mean? Like, it's just like you always talk about ETC, effort to complete, to completion, resourcing, burn rates. When you're managing a lot of people and you're trying to figure out, how do we charge to it? How do we put the rate? How do we be competitive? How do we not blow the project? How do we hire someone who knows enough so they don't camp on a project so they don't blow it? A lot of the times we're not teaching enough people basically to understand what money is and where it comes in and where it goes. That's one. Two, basically how to get the proposal, how to get it, how to price it right. Three, so when we do need to find someone quickly, right? We know it, we can see the train coming, right? But we wait, and then we're like, okay, put it out. And then by that time, you're already 3 to 6 months into it. So then someone like me, basically, I have to wear a lot of hats. And then, do I want to hire senior people? Of course I do. Can I find them? Of course not. So then, do I want to hire junior people? Of course I do. So, and do I have a lot of them? Of course I do. But do we have the time to train them? Of course we don't. No. So then we throw them into the fire, right? And then it's like, go. What happens to the morale of someone when they get thrown into the fire? You tell me.
Yeah, no, it's just debilitating, right? You just get, this is too much, I'm out, is what happens, right?
Yeah, you're like, I went to school for this. Wait, no. And then it's just, so the thing about it is, it's like they weren't basically trained with wolves. They were trained with fake wolves.
Yeah.
Little, oh, wolf, back in the day, we were told 40 means 60, you know what I mean? And you're not getting paid anymore. I mean, things have changed now. I mean, now they have the silent quitting. I mean, like you just stop coming in. I mean, and now there's the whole, you can take breaks if you don't feel good. I mean, you know what I mean? I'm not trying, I'm just like, yes, it's all there. It's all needed. It's all different. The world is changing, but it's really hard to basically say to someone who's been a 10-year engineer, you're making X amount, and we just hire someone with 2 years of experience. We paid him more. That person's going to go, what about me?
Yeah, this is where I think corporations, particularly bigger ones, are out of touch. They sort of take for granted people to work for them, and they overpay for new people, right? And there's somewhere in the middle is where it needs to be.
Truthfully, when it comes to commissioning, energy, the services that I'm into, right? You can teach a lot of this, you've got to get it, but it's just like, it's the time. And, and I tell people, I'm like, what takes me a half an hour will take you 3, and then it'll take you 2, then it'll take you 1. And yes, we need them. And yes, I want to guide them. And yes, we need it. We have to. So that's why I tell people all the time. And this is what I say to future employees or other people. I said, I can't pay you to do homework. I go, but if you want to give me a call after 5 o'clock, I will work with you every day. And I do. I mentor a lot of people in where I work. I mentor a lot of students. I mentor a lot of people. And, most of the time I don't give any time to myself. I give it to everybody else because but at the same time, there are millions of resources online right now. If people truly want to learn about commissioning and audits, or if they want to deep dive into, I mean, it's literally, you got the space shuttle right here. You know what I mean? I mean, use it and learn.
I was thinking the other day about this. So LinkedIn is an amazing resource, right? because
If you
you
use it
get
right.
a lot more visibility. Like typically when you interview someone, you look at their resume, you do some references, you know, they're giving you references of people they know are going to say they're awesome, right? So I'm not even sure there's any value in that, quite frankly. And no one wants to put, certainly when I was a partner of a firm in Canada, we were told don't give references because you open yourself up to liability. So we just said, yes, they worked here from here. So it was a complete waste of time, right? But we're programmed to do it. But what we need is like a glass door for individuals. You know what Glassdoor is, the website?
Yeah.
Yeah. So Glassdoor for our international listeners is a website where you can anonymously rate companies that you've worked for and how they're run. And it's really interesting. So
you can actually put reviews in there, but they always want your names and this and that. But I mean, I just go in there. I tell people to use Glassdoor all the time when they say, well, I want to get paid X. I'm like, go on there and look what all these positions are. I go, look at the high end, look at the low end, look at the medium. I go, always come into medium if you believe you are. I go, and if you are worth more, go into the medium in between that. I say it, always give a defensible position.
Yes.
I go, why you're worth that value, and then it'll be taken into consideration.
So if you look at LinkedIn as a sort of like an individual version of Glassdoor, I always go through the recommendations. So if I'm just about to make an offer to someone, I go to a LinkedIn profile and see who they're connected to and what, because a lot of them do get recommendations, and just see who's been recommending them. That is, for me, proved to be a really good indicator of who's worth the money.
You know what drives me crazy? I mean, it's true. If somebody were to go to my LinkedIn and so it's like I left stuff in there from, years ago when I wrote this position and what I did. And it's like, something like, wow, you got a long LinkedIn. I'm like, I actually, I worked the job and I said what I did.
Yeah.
You ever notice, like, sometimes you get like to be a big shot and you're like, I worked at this, you're like, title. And it's like, what'd you do? What you do? I have no idea. And it's just like people have like 3 jobs over 20 years, and it's just like all these big titles. And I'm like, go look back at mine. You want to look what I did for the DOE? You want to look what I did? You want to look that I did? It's right there. I've never taken it away. You can see exactly what I think I know or what I don't know. You can see papers I've written. I mean, you know what I mean? Like, there are recommendations. It's just like, I wish people would leave their past. I do. My past is very transparent. I'm very open.
It's a bit like a real estate listing. If there's no picture of the kitchen, you can pretty much assume the kitchen sucks, right? If there's no past, you can presume there's some dead bodies buried there, right? So,
but people might think that, if that's too much or this is that. Remember nowadays everything like this is better. I mean, it's a teaser. You know what I mean? It's just honestly, it's like most of us don't have an hour to basically go find a good burger place. You know what I mean? It's the same thing. It's just like I'm a detail kind of guy. I want to see what's going on. I want to ask questions. Let me tell you something right now. When I get a resume, right, and someone's like, blah 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 4.0 whatever, who cares, right? What I do is I find something on there and I go, oh, so you did BIM and you did Revit and you designed plans. And I'm like, yeah. I'm like, so if I ask you to basically open up Revit or CAD right now, you could basically take a square, you could move it around, you could show me this, you could break it out. I go, I'll focus in on something. I know it sounds bad, but I'm going to focus in on something that anything on there, they should be able to talk about.
Correct.
They should have passion about what they're talking about and not just list something down that I put Excel down.
Yeah,
okay.
I mean, interviews are about tell me what you've actually done, and LinkedIn's evolving into a sort of form of social proof, social graph for your work, right? So, I mean, that's where it's going. But to the original question, there is a deficit of good people. And someone who used to work for me said, the problem is average people get paid too much and really good people don't get paid enough. There needs to be some light between them, right?
You are right. And the last thing I'm going to say is I do these, and interviewers do this all the time. So one time I was talking to this architect, and I basically said, I'm like, so you blah, 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 blah. And they go, yeah. And I go, so would you say that you understand, about vapor barriers? They go, oh yeah, we focus on that a lot. I go, okay, so what's a class 2?
Crickets.
It was like, and I'm, you know what I mean? And I wasn't trying to be a jerk, but the thing about it is you always got to have like, a card in your hand, and you always got to have like those 5 questions, basic questions.
Yeah.
And if someone can't answer a basic question, give them a couple chances, because sometimes they get
Yeah,
shell.
sometimes it's nerves, right? Yeah.
Yes, and so if you're a good interviewer, you're gonna go around it a little bit, and you're gonna come back, you're gonna make them feel comfortable. But you know, even if they don't know the precise answer, like, I want to know how they dealt with controversy. I want to know how they dealt with conflict, how they dealt with that moment, because that moment, that tendency, that is what you can either work with or work against.
Yeah. Yeah, no, yeah, the under pressure stuff is really important in our business.